Welcome back to iRacing Basic Training. In this chapter, we're going to talk about pit strategy and the garage. In some of iRacing's most competitive series, the races are not just won by great driving in the actual race. Sometimes, strategy and preparation can beat the most skilled driver in the server. I've always enjoyed this strategic part of iRacing. Saving tires and fuel and going all out when you know you're coming up on pit road can be a lot of fun. The most important skills when trying to take advantage of the various situations is awareness and predicting what might happen next. Knowledge about the car and track you're driving is essential to make the correct pit strategy and adjustments throughout the race. To have this knowledge, it requires proper testing before you even consider joining a race. While it is not essential, this is where teammates can come in handy. In order to test all the different variables that you would encounter during an actual race, it's important to have several people you can practice with. You'll figure out things much quicker than by yourself. There are many things to learn before entering a race session. How many laps is the race? How far can you stretch a tank of fuel? Does the car handle better with less fuel in the tank? How much does the car handling change throughout the course of a run? How much time do you lose throughout a run as your tires wear? There is a lot to know if you want to be totally prepared for every situation. Because nobody has unlimited testing time to prepare for races, we have to prioritize. When I'm preparing for a race, I like to get comfortable with the car and track until I'm doing smooth and consistent laps before anything else. If I try to find out my fuel mileage while being inconsistent, the fuel information box might give me a false reading. After I feel comfortable, I want to start working on my setup. Ultimately, the goal of the car setup process is to get all the tires working as evenly as possible. Hopefully, I can load a setup from a previous week that gets me close to where I want to be handling-wise. Sometimes you do have to start from the baseline setups, but usually you can find a setup on the forum that another driver has worked on. If they post it for everyone to use, it might not be the best setup, but usually it's superior to the baseline setup, otherwise they wouldn't have posted it. While on the forum, I try to do research too. If I don't know what a particular adjustment does, I search for it on the forum. If you're questioning it, more often than not, people have questioned the same thing on the forum. Once I have my setup close to where I want it, I will do the longest run that my fuel tank will allow. You should take note if the car handles differently throughout it. As the tires wear and the fuel burns off, normally the car won't handle quite as good, and you'll have to adjust your technique. As soon as this run is complete, come to a safe stop without locking up your tires and exit the car. See how many laps you completed. Also, before you get back on track, check out the garage and see what your final wear percentages and tire temperatures were. All of this is valuable information, so open the Notes tab in the garage. Start by noting the date, weather conditions, and car and track. Take down anything that might be useful in the future. Fuel is important to have at the end of the race and should be your #1 priority. Next, we have to weigh the importance of tires versus the importance of track position. These are constantly changing variables. Some tracks can wear tires more than others, and some tracks can be particularly difficult to pass at. It all depends on your situation. The best call might be no tires, 2 tires, or 4 tires. Another variable that can throw a wrench into your plans are cautions. It's important to know how the typical race of that track plays out. Short tracks will sometimes result in many short runs and restarts near the end. Track position will be key if your race is frequently being slowed by yellows. If your race has long green runs, you put more priority on tires and making sure your car is balanced throughout a run. Being able to run one fast lap is great, but it won't matter if you're locking up and abusing your tires while doing it. There are many other variables that you must consider when determining the best pit strategy and formulating the best setup. Remember, sometimes taking a risk can pay off in a big way. You don't win races by following people, whether it's out on track, entering pit road, or in the garage area.